freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gaiman, and this is our instant reaction pod for the PNC Championship. Joining me to break it all down, Greg Ducharme is here. What up, Greg? Nice hat.
What's going on? Thank you. 'Tis the season. As you can see, I'm a little bit excited for the events coming up later this week.
Yes, we are mere days away from Christmas. Greg on YouTube, check us out, sporting the Santa Claus hats. Kyle Porter, also here. KP, what up, my dude?
I'm excited I have no hat, but we're going to be giving out gifts in a later episode this week. Little tease. We're going to be distributing presents to our favorite golfers. So that should be fun.
Professional tease. We're going to play Santa Claus. We are going to go through a list of golfers and give them presents. Ones they might like, ones they might need, ones they might not like. I don't know. We'll find out. But for this time, we've got to talk about PNC Championship. It's in the books. And Greg, the betting favorites, Justin Thomas and his father, Team Thomas, are victorious. A round of 57 on Saturday to close it out, which is pretty ridiculous. They win by one shot over the Sings.
It was great to see, but I mean, to some extent, it's almost obvious, right? You have the number 3 player in the world and his father, who's a PGA professional, but you can see what kind of work they had to do to get this victory. I mean, a 57, they made 2 pars on the back 9. Both of them were 3s, and just 1 on the first 9, and that was also a 3. So a lot of 2s and 3s on the scorecard. It was really impressive, but it reminds me of one thing. This is my biggest takeaway from this. When we watch these team events, you watch Phil and Barkley and this team event, and the one thing I thought heading into the Phil and Barkley and Steph Curry, Peyton Manning match is the worst player is the most important player on the team. But I'm starting to wonder now if that's true, or if it's true that, hey, it's more like maybe like the NBA, where one superstar can really carry a team to a championship. And these last 2 have kind of proved the latter.
Yeah, we're starting to see more of these like one-off events. Obviously, the pandemic causes a need for more content, but we're starting to see, maybe we can put some data points together on this. KP, do you know what first prize money was in this event? Because I just read it for the first time right now.
I presume you get like OWGR FedEx Cup points.
Yeah, definitely.
You get OWGR for...
Mike Thompson not ranked in the top 1,000.
he's probably ranked ahead of Akshay. I'm guessing, like, do you get to keep the money, or is it a charity situation?
I'm gonna say you keep it. I mean, maybe they donate it. Maybe these guys donate. It's $200,000 the team gets. So 20 teams.
I like how you asked me a question and I just wouldn't answer it. I was going to say $100,000, so I would have been off by a lot.
I would have said 100,000 each. That makes you correct. You gotta,
that's a great call.
Come on, we are in the spin zone.
What would Charlie Woods do with $100,000?
He wouldn't notice it.
That's probably true.
The 100,000, 200,000 hits those bank accounts. I'm not sure they've noticed it. The Thomases, we talked about the 57. They are let me make sure I have this right. 4th team to ever win this in their debut. And Team Thomas becomes the first team to win the PNC Championship with a father playing as a partner, which is kind of interesting. JT young enough to get his dad out there. Dad's still young enough to move it around. So the first time a father was a playing partner was victorious.
You don't see it very often. That's for sure.
I love that. What was and I couldn't figure this out, the tee box situation, because you had like the span, like the span of how good golfers were in this was very wide. Like we had JT over here, and then we had I don't know who the worst person was, but it was, like there was a big gap between best and worst. So I mean, like, were there 20 tees? Was it based on handicap? I never really understood that.
Producer Jacob says it's based on age group. I think there was a couple of them. 4 sets of tees, says producer Jacob. So there you go. Based on age group, you're right. They were pretty spread out, KP.
Yeah. It's funny that like the Tour Championship, which is for like $40 million, is a is a net event, and this is not. Like you don't like there's no net here. It's just go get it. And granted it's a scramble. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but
Let's stop messing around.
I enjoyed watching.
Let's stop messing around and get to Team Woods here. Tiger and Charlie. Charlie at 11 years old, Greg, and you might see more 11-year-olds or just kind of, I don't know. You see the development probably much more than we do. So I don't know how Charlie rates in terms of like 11-year-olds in the country, but my goodness, the swing in the game look legit.
Yeah, it's a great golf swing. He has control over his golf ball. It goes where he's looking. But my favorite part of watching him is how relaxed he is. He's loose. While he's still taking it very seriously. He is he's rather intense, but at the same time, it's loose. There's a comfort. He looks like a kid. He's playing like a kid out there in the positive sense of the term. So I really enjoyed watching that. As far as how he ranks against other 11-year-olds, it's not a age group I'm intimately familiar with, but I've definitely seen some 11-year-olds. The drive, chip, and putt brings a lot of attention to these kind of varying age groups. And I'll say there are a lot of talented 11-year-olds out there. I mean, you would be surprised is all I'll say. Kids are getting better and better from younger and younger ages. Now, that being said, I think Charlie could hang with most of them. He may be a little bit smaller than some of them. He may not hit it as far as all of them, but he can hang. He knows what he's doing out there. It's impressive to watch for sure. But I don't think we're in a situation where this is, the second coming of it's hard to say, but Tiger Woods, right? I'm not sure that we're at that level right now. The expectations, I think, have to be a little bit tempered here.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to my wife, like, no one is the next Tiger, right? Like, it's very unlikely that anyone is the next Tiger. But if anyone is, and it doesn't have to be Charlie, but if anyone is 1/5 of Tiger, 1/8 of Tiger KP, they're like a Hall of Famer and one of the best players ever. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. If you're a quarter of Tiger, what is that? That's
20 something wins.
20 wins and 4 majors. You're like one of the 17 best players of all time, which is crazy. I don't need the like, and I actually thought most people did a good job of just like letting it be what it was, right? Because like he's 11, like whatever, and it's hard because you. Like I'm saying, on one hand, I'm saying that, and that's true, and we need to just like let it be. And I think Tiger is so familiar with how dangerous it can be to enter into that world at a young age,
sure,
and how that changes your life in ways that you can't ever unchange, And I think Tiger's done a really good job with his family, with his kids, and just he's very self-aware when it comes to stuff like that. But it's hard because you're like, okay, I kept saying he's 11, whatever. And then you watch him and you're like, that swing is kind of sick. Like it's really good. And so you want to celebrate that because it's fun and, there's something there to be celebrated, but you also have to keep it in perspective. One of my takeaways, I think I'm going to write about this later in the week. I thought it was cool. And I talked to like 3 or 4 different people who their kids really enjoyed watching in a way that they don't when it's just PGA Tour or even major championships. Like my kids usually watch the majors and sometimes regular events, but they were they were more into it than they otherwise would have been. And I feel like that's a shift. That's different. And I talked to other guys who were feeling, or their kids were kind of doing the same thing. And I thought that was cool. Like that to me is one of the most fun and enjoyable kind of takeaways from something like this.
All the attention on this, you're right, Kyle. It brings up what comes to my mind is the drive, chip, and putt. When the national finals for that get to Augusta National, all of a sudden kids, first of all, they want to watch it. Second of all, they want to try to play. They want to compete. They want to get into an event like that. Now, for a very, very large majority of the kids, they're not going to have the opportunity to play in the PNC championship because how many children have fathers who are major champions? Not very many. It's a very, very small list, obviously. But But at the same time, I think it inspires kids to be like Charlie. Oh, I can do that. I want to play like that. And when you have a Woods playing in an event like that, and one of them is Tiger, all of a sudden eyes go to the event. So it's very cool to see. And it does have a real effect. And you'll see more kids playing the game because of Charlie playing in the PNC, because kids watch it. So it's great for the game.
Yeah, it's weird because we always, sorry, Rick, we always think of that as being like the Tiger effect for us, like for people our age and a little bit younger. And my kids, like, I mean, they care about Tiger, but I don't know. Tiger was 39 when they were born or whatever, 37. And so it's just, it is, I don't know. And whatever, like, I don't, you don't want to put that on an 11-year-old, right? But just this one weekend and seeing him play with his dad, even if the only effect from that is stirring up for our kids wanting to go play golf, that's a cool thing. And that's worthy of celebration, I think.
Yeah. Hey, they're out there playing golf. Let's go out and play a couple of rounds together.
Yes.
Charlie becomes the youngest competitor ever at the PNC Championship. Stefan Longer was 12 when he played. Thomas Lehman was 12 when he played. Here's the thing, guys. There's the mannerisms for me were kind of something funny, right? We've seen Tiger for so long, and Tiger's basically done the same stuff, right? He's a creature of habit. He has the same mannerisms. He's got the same club twirl. He's got the fist pumps throughout the years. It's crazy, Greg, to see Charlie, I mean, adopt the same stuff, right? I mean, the one that stood out to me is Tiger does this very specific, like, sidestep. Like, when he knows he made a putt, like getting out of his putting stance, he does this little sidestep to go pick it up. And Charlie did it when he rolled one in. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
this is so cool. It's so cool.
No, you wouldn't expect anything different. I guess you really wouldn't, because you, as a father, you realize that your kids copy you. Everything you do, whether it's good or bad, they're going to copy you. So you have to be really careful with what you do. So it's so cute to see that. But then on the other side, I copied Tiger when I was growing up. So as a golfer, you're going to copy Tiger. He's the guy you're going to try to swing like, you're going to try to club twirl like, you're going to try to have a serious face when you play like Tiger. All the things that Tiger does, you try to do as a fan of the game. So when you combine, when your hero and your dad is also the greatest golfer we've seen, at least top 2 greatest of all time, well, it's a great combination, because he's just going to copy him all day long, and that's his hero. So I think it's adorable to see. I really, really enjoyed watching that part.
A couple other quick notes from the PNC Championship. So it goes Thomas, Singh, O'Meara, Trevino, Kite, Kuchar, then Woods. So that Woods team finished 20 under in 7th. And Lee Trevino, Kyle, at 81, the only player to have competed in all 23 PNC championships, which is pretty cool. Not only is he competing, but literally competing, like tied for 3rd here, 2 shots back. It's great stuff.
Yeah, how old is he? 81?
81.
I mean, I hope I can just still do this when I'm 81, just talking to a microphone,
Imagine Kyle Porter takes when he's 81 years old.
Oh, they'll be so spicy.
When I don't care about like the future of my career. I'm just,
yeah. And like doesn't care if he like offends anyone, or like he's just giving up at this point.
So Shane Bacon said this on Twitter, and I thought it was really good. He was talking about how golf is cool because you couldn't do this with football or it would be weird to do it with basketball or baseball or anything really other than golf. And that's one of the things that makes golf the coolest. It's really special because of that. Not just because you get family members playing together, but you can play from 11 years old. I mean, we're talking about an 11-year-old and an 81-year-old. That's freaking cool. And they're playing in the same event and like playing relatively the same golf, like that's pretty awesome. I think that's really kind of an underrated thing that we don't talk about a ton, because we're grinding over like where JT finished in the FedEx Cup standings.
Greg, between tee boxes, between handicaps, you can make golf accessible to everyone. The range of players was Charlie Woods 11 to Gary Player, the oldest competitor, 85. So talking about from 11 to 85, we've got guys out there.
It's amazing. And you can do this in football, and usually you do it every Thanksgiving, but somebody always ends up hurt.
Yeah.
There's an emergency room bill involved.
Right. And that happens every what is it? I guess the fourth Thursday in November, just about every year, at least in my household. So yeah, it's great to have an event where you're not going to get hurt. People can go play, and this isn't the only time they do it. You can play like this year round. You don't need cameras involved, but I'm sure that Lee Trevino and Gary Player are playing with their grandchildren on a regular basis and sharing the game. But when we get to watch it, and you get to sit down with your family and sit down with your kids and watch this event, it's inspirational. It inspires you, and there's a special bond that's created. It really is a special bond that's created through the game of golf, and it's with friends, it's with family, and there's no greater joy. So this event just leaves you smiling every year.
Gary Player's going to pick a new grandchild to play with next year after finishing 20th this year.
Yeah, he's cut.
I mean, he threatened it. He threatened it on Twitter, so now he's got to do it.
Do you have to have a do you have to have a certain handicap to get in the event? Like, because I feel like everybody you watch was at least could get it around. It wasn't like they didn't cut to anybody.
I don't think they choose somebody who can't get it around. I don't think you have to have a certain handicap. I just think that the player chooses someone they know who can get it around.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, they're major champions. I mean, these guys are competitive. I don't think Gary Player likes coming in 20th place.
We have a couple minutes left. I want to spend a real quick shout out. Jin Young Ko. So she was tied at the lead with 7 holes to play, wins it by 5, which is an unbelievable finish to win the LPGA Tour event. But a couple of notes out of this, Greg. She wins the money title in 4 starts. How about this? That's win, crazy. A second place finish, a 5th, and a 34th. Obviously, a shortened season for the LPGA, and I'll talk about next season in a second. But imagine winning the money title in 4 starts.
You know, it's in a very strange way. It reminds me of what DJ did this year, where because of the timing, what events are you finishing where you're finishing in? So she goes 34th, improves to 5th, improves to tied 2nd, improves to 1st. But as she's going, the events get more and more important. Which is really where all of a sudden the dollar values start to climb, and that's how you end up on top of the money list. So, you know, it's the same thing in pretty much every sport. Big players make big time plays and big time moments, and this is, that last 7 holes is as big time as it gets.
It's almost what Colin Morikawa did on the European Tour, right? Like we were talking about him going over there and winning with, he had 6 starts, or I don't know, whatever the number was. None that were just European Tour. So it felt a little bit like that because everybody's talking about that going into the event, and then it actually happened. And it was odd.
Greg mentioned increasing, purses and prizes, Kyle, and we're going to see an LPGA Tour schedule next year that's going to feature 34 events and the largest total purse ever in the tour's history. So in a year of 2020, where things were pretty horrible, tours had to do things to survive and get by. Good to see that the LPGA is going to come back in 2021 with their largest total prize purse ever.
Yeah, so I was watching, we had turned on the golf today, and the CME was on, and my daughter, who's 7, was like, "Oh, it's girl golf." And I was like, "Yeah, girl golf is more fun to watch sometimes than boy golf." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, that's a good question. The reason is because they don't just try to hit it as far as humanly possible. They actually hit golf shots." And so she was intrigued by that. And I think that, we talked about this I think it was last week, just about how I think 2020 gave us a greater appreciation for, or at least for me, for things that are kind of outside this PGA Tour, like tunnel vision that we get in. Mm-hmm. And so you watch the US Women's Open, you watch, some, and I hope that they do that more, where they're kind of going in these time slots that aren't filled up by the PGA Tour, which we all have to cover. So there's not enough time to give to this other stuff, because it's fun. Like when they went to Charleston last year for the U.S. Women's Open, and was that 2019, Greg?
That was 2019, Charleston.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was sweet. Like that was so much fun to watch, and I don't know. All that to say, like the fact that there's more prize money and they're moving forward, I think is a really exciting thing, because I think their audience has an opportunity to really grow over the next few years.
And on that point, Greg, DraftKings has offered LPGA contests. They may continue to offer them for these, 34 events coming next season, which would only help grow the game. Maybe by the end of all this, we'll be doing 2 Monday pods, one for the PGA Tour DFS and one for a little LPGA action.
Let's get deep on that. That would be sweet.
It really would be. I mean, it would be really cool, because it is a fun tour to watch and follow. I think there are some areas where they got to improve to make that a little more, to allow people like us to get a little more involved. Because I do think that the DFS world draws attention to it. All of a sudden it becomes fun. It adds an extra element. It adds a rooting element into it, just like fantasy football does in football. It changes the way that you view. And you would definitely watch more if you had 6 women on your team that you were really pulling for. It would change your viewing habits on it, is my belief. But I will say this too about 2021. Mike Wan came on a number of our shows earlier in the year during the shutdown, and he said, right now we're basically just maintaining and building our sponsor relationships. And as those get stronger, he guaranteed it. He said, I guarantee you 2021 will have more, it'll have increased purses. We have to get through this year and focus on our relationships with our partners, and 2021 will be the best year ever. And he's already taken that step. He's delivered on that promise. So it's great to see. I do think you're going to see some growth next year out of that tour.
Certainly
That's
looking
great.
forward to it. We've got more stuff coming this week. We've got a little Christmas episode where we're going to give out gifts to some of our favorite golfers. But for now, let me thank Kyle Porter, who you can find on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. Let me thank Greg Ducharme, who you can find at The Real GFD. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut, and we'll catch you next time.